I'm going to start this off a little unconventional. One of the cardinal rules of being successful on YouTube is that before you even press record, you have to have your thumbnail figured out, have to have your hook figured out, and then you can press record. And in this video, I'm not really sure how this is going to work out. So we're going to break those rules right up front. I know that in the next couple of days, I'm going to get in that truck right there and I'm going to drive 1,000 miles that way, and I'm going to pick up next year's project car and I'm going to put it on a trailer and I'm going to bring it back and I'm going to park it right there. And so I have to do a few things in advance, of course, of that. Part of the things I have to do is make room in here for that, because I'd like to still be able to park my Mustang inside. I have this, which is this year's project car, that it's not dead in the water. I have to get that finished. And part of that is that I've got this, which is cabinetry for my kitchen, which is not yet done. So I'm not going to bore you with all that terrible stuff. The thing I'm going to do right now is put a camper shell on there. Side here, we just got to drawstring that down a little bit. I might have to, these take a little bit of balancing to get them just right. There we go, sleeping accommodations. I wouldn't call this trip last minute exactly. We planned it out starting in July and it's September now, but it is Spartan. And for financial reasons, paid time off from work reasons, etc., I have to just kind of get down there and get back. My wife is going to stay home for this trip. I'm going to sleep in there to save money because I don't even want to spend money on a hotel. What I'm going to have to do is run by a U-Haul here in Spokane, pick up a flatbed trailer, and then drive that down to Central California, pick up the project vehicle, turn around and come back, and then drop off the U-Haul trailer, of course, back where I got it. That truck is rated to pull 9,050 pounds per the manufacturer. I've got a Class 5 hitch. I've got integrated trailer brake controller, although that part itself doesn't matter because the U-Haul flatbed trailers have integrated surge brakes. So it's just gonna work out the way it works. The next thing that I have to do here in this garage though is make room for it. Got our U-Haul all hooked up. These things are as tight as I can wrap them up to be, so they'll flap around, but they won't fall on the ground. I know the camera is probably not going to capture just how big Mount Shasta is, but that is a big old pile of dirt right there. And it's just captivating to look at. One nice thing about having a regular cab truck is even the short bed is still 6.5 feet long, which means I'm stretched out pretty good here in the back of it. I'm super comfortable. I'm on top of a futon mattress. I got a blanket. I got my pillow. Brush my teeth. I'm at Peter Skeen rest area, which apparently has a really cool cliff over there that I'm gonna go check out in the morning, but then I'll hit the road again. Let's go check out this 300-foot cliff. I just pulled into a rest stop in Sacramento, California, which puts me a couple hours away from my destination. In addition to the beautiful mountains up north, like Mount Shasta that we were at a little while ago, and of course the indescribably beautiful Sierra Nevada range. Down the hill from that little ways is the San Joaquin Valley, which is where I grew up, and it's where my best friend still lives. And the reason that I am doing this trip, that I can't afford financially or time-wise, but the reason it's important for me to do this is that, well, going way back in time, my childhood was not all that good. I know a lot of people say that, but just my childhood was pretty bad, and some people don't have business being parents, mine included. And so my best friend's parents probably fed me more food, at least calorie-wise, they fed me more food than my own parents did. And in addition to picking up the slack on my nutritional needs as a child, they also picked up the slack a bit on some parenting that my parents weren't doing. And so my friend's dad would take us four-wheeling, camping, fishing, you know, stuff like that. And the vehicle that he would most often take us adventuring in was the vehicle I'm picking up now. So he's at that age where he's trying to figure out where things go and, clean up a little bit and everything. And Last time I came down to visit this summer, say hi and you know, hang out with friends and stuff like that, he said, "When are you gonna come pick this thing up?" And I said, "You want me to buy it?" And he said, "No, come pick it up." All right, first, who can tell me what year this is? Second, can anyone tell me what's going on with the hood here? Because it looks almost like someone got some pliers and like just bent the front lip of the hood forward all the way across. And I have no idea why that would be done. So if anyone has any ideas, I'm all ears. Well, I wasn't able to get a good stab on it exactly. Not quite in line, but there's just too much foliage and vegetation over there. But we've got it kind of not quite in line. We'll be able to get it this way, I think. The driver's side tire has got a pretty big gash in the side of it, so it's not going to hold air. There is a spare on the back of the vehicle that I think might hold air. We're going to try and just pull it up on there without changing the tire first, and then once I get home I'll be able to change the tire on the trailer before pushing it back off again. I think will be probably best that way. So here's the project as we got it. We've got the project vehicle sitting right there. We've got the ramps in a reasonable position to get it. We've got a chain hooked up to the approved tow hook right there. We've got a come along right here and a second come along, which is tied into the sole loop on this U-Haul trailer. And I'm not entirely sure if this is what this is for, but it looks like it'll be reasonable for it. I kind of do wish they had a big unmistakable yoke right here for this purpose, because if you're renting a trailer, there's a fairly good chance that the vehicle you're trying to pull up on it doesn't run. Anyway, let's go ahead and get started. I'll put this thing somewhere and you can watch me and my folly. Okay, that's taking more force than it should. So I figured something out. I was having trouble with this one here. This is a Hall Master. I have no idea where I got it, but I've had it for a while. And it's obviously not too beat up, but I was having trouble with it. It was way harder to pull than the other one that's brand new. And I just found out why. Look in there. That little guy, that pulley, has disintegrated and it's ruining the cable itself, which is scary. I don't want to try and force that. I mean, obviously there's still most of its tensile strength and I'm sure we're nowhere near its maximum. But this one's no longer going to be any good for pulling. All right, second stab at this. I'm sure somebody is going to try and criticize me in the comments on how I've done this. But, you know, I'm here and you're not, so that's how it works. Just barely doesn't quite reach. There she is. So this part here where the tire isn't quite centered, that's not perfect, but it'll be okay. The tires themselves are small enough that that'll wrap around pretty decent. We'll just get this over as far as it'll go. I wanted to get the tire up against that so that when I press the brakes on the truck, the surge brake activates. That way this will be all the way up against that. I got home pretty late last night and slept pretty hard, but woke up feeling a whole lot better, so I might as well reveal to you formally what's on my trailer. That's a 1987 Dodge Raider, rebranded Mitsubishi Montero. which means I got a short little ram. Pulling a short little ram. This tire here is gone, and before I'm able to push this thing off the trailer, I'm gonna have to change that tire. Seems like the spare probably is gonna be able to hold just barely enough air to let me roll it. So I'm gonna take the spare tire off of it, and I'm gonna mount the spare tire up there while it's on the trailer, and then I'll see if I can get this thing into my driveway. We're gonna do one of them ASMR cleaning videos. Moment of truth, the transmission's in neutral, parking brake is off. It's of course not rolling anywhere just yet, but I gotta put some butt into it, see if I can get it to go. In order to jack this thing up so I can change that tire out, I've got my floor jack sitting here on the tread, and then I've got this going to one of the body mount protrusions from the frame. That looks like it's probably gonna be strong enough to lift up this side of the vehicle without damaging anything. Just enough so I can get this tire changed out. Got those on there just barely, not even a ugga-dugga, like not even a ugga. Just enough so that this thing's up against the wheel mounting surface, slightly more than finger tight, but I reckon they're not much more than finger tight. Anyway, let's go ahead and get this thing some air in it and then get it off of there. Because I don't have the muscle by myself to push it off the trailer, I've decided to go ahead and use the come along like this. So come along is tied to the back of the trailer and tied to the frame. It doesn't have to pull very hard here. This is not a significant amount of weight. I have a safety chain tied on to the tow point on the front of the vehicle and also onto the trailer. So as it rolls down, it's going to come to the end of its slack there and not roll up the street. That was a super sad sound. Well, that tire did not have the fortitude for the job it was being asked to do. It's funny, I only had it pumped up to 12 psi, so it's not like it was filled a lot, but I guess it just didn't like the pressure of being on top of that. So, not 100% sure what I'm going to do about this. This is a challenge. Looks like I got step one completed, and as you probably know, a huge part of this game I've chosen to play with my life is just solving puzzles. So I think I know what my next steps are. First thing is I'm going to return this trailer to U-Haul, and then we'll get to work on the next set of steps. This of course would be a whole lot easier if I had like an ATV that I could pull with, or that truck there ran, or if I had a buddy nearby with some big muscles or something like that. But since I got to work this solo, my wife is here, but if I haven't mentioned before, she's medically retired. Like, she doesn't have a whole lot of strength, and I can't ask her to do a whole lot of stuff. So, and not because she's unwilling, she's physically unable. I gotta say that's not absolutely ideal, because I had wanted to put that in there and just circumstances kind of forced me to do it like this. But that's okay. I'll still be able to do what I have to do on that vehicle. I'll still be able to do what I have to do on this. And this gives me time with it out of the street. I can figure out what I'm gonna do with the tire situation. It's fine where it is right now. So let's go ahead and take us a tour. That sounded like a collision. Oh, that's just an empty trailer bouncing around. Here we go. What we have is a 1987 Ram Raider. It says imported for Dodge, but the branding there is Ram. So I guess that was a bit earlier than the Ram that thing is. Anyway, 1987 Ram Raider. It is four-wheel drive. It has automatic locking front hubs. It has those sealed beam headlights, and it has Raider right here in the grill, along with an awful lot of lichen. The paint is abysmal. That's okay. I already have ideas in my cranium for how I want to do the paint. Some birds have been painting it real good like over here, and it's unfortunate the window's been open for an unspecified amount of time, so they've been painting the interior a little bit too. This window is also left open. One thing I learned about these sliding back windows is that if there is grit down here in the channel and you push them open, it will shatter that, and these are not easy to come by. That's a pretty unobtainable piece of glass. So if that shatters, I might find myself having to do some maybe it'll be a panel van if that shatters. We'll try to clean it up and make it so that doesn't happen. The back bumper is lunched up pretty good. It doesn't have a spare on it now. Of course, that's because the spare that was sitting there is sitting there and is just as bad as the wheel I removed. Let's go ahead and open up the back of it. These are often broken. Oh, it worked. So there we go. The door opens to the side like this. Inside here, we have goodies of some sort. Okay, this I don't believe is part of this vehicle. I have no idea what this is. Oh, that's part of a Whirlpool self-cleaning oven. So yeah, I don't think I require that. Here is one of the Mikuni Rubik's Cube carburetors. Some brake drums. Yeah, just a bunch of random parts here. Import service manual. Hey, that's kind of cool. I wonder if volume 1 is in here too. We do have a little compact air compressor. We have the original jack. I think Toasty probably has about 30 of those, but it's nice that I've got this one in here. Got some spiders that have taken up residence in it. Headliner is absolutely gone, and there's a whole nest of wasps I've imported from California. Well, that's lovely. So that'll be fun to evict at such time as it becomes important. These parts here are all jacked up, but I think that I can buy replacements for those still. The seats are not great. It does have the bouncy seat base and the empty rock star and a fishing rod, possibly. We've got some vintage cassette tape and radio. I reckon those probably don't function anymore. Automatic transmission. What's inside here? Got some hearing aid batteries and light. Wiring from a CB radio that may have been here at one point or another. That thing is gone. Let's go ahead and pop the hood. Under the hood, we've got the 2.6 liter Mitsubishi engine. This was apparently replaced at some point with a used one from Florida, driven for a few months and then failed to continue operating, and so it was parked again. Looks like critters have decided to remove whatever was left of the underhood padding. So this is all going to need to be cleaned out really well. I expect that motor is not going to remain in this vehicle. That thing is not in good shape. Again, not going to remain in the vehicle. So I got my work cut out for me here. All right, let's get to work cleaning. This is going to take quite a bit more just undignified grabbing things, putting them in there and in there, depending on what they're made out of. So I'm going to get to work on that. This is what the front looks like right now. This is what the back looks like right now. And so we'll see what it looks like now. There we go. So it's still pretty filthy, but not as filthy. And we no longer have one of the wasp nests up there. The other one is still up there. Unfortunately, haven't got that one out. But the interior is way less gross than it used to be. Seat flops up, and yeah, that's gonna need a good shampoo in, but I think it's recoverable. Overall, pretty good deal.